Texan IIs from 14 Squadron at RNZAF Base O'Harkia. Now, unfortunately, because we're still working up the capabilities of this aircraft in terms of display, we can't do anything more than a two-ship fly past as the pair. So this is Squadron Leader Anthony Buddy, who's bringing Gold 2 back through here for a downwind low fast pass. He's going to pull up into a wing over at the end of this one, so that's just a nice repositioning maneuver. It's a pitch and a roll. We'll be able to turn the nose of the aircraft back around, and the next maneuver that he'll complete. So you begin coming down, getting your speed up, making sure you've got the energy and the height to complete this maneuver, and then you'll start to pitch the aircraft first, nose up. There he goes, and then he'll add a little bit of aileron and a bit of rudder in there. And you get the pitching and the rolling continuously balancing against each other. So with the smoke on, you can see he's describing that real big circle around the sky, like a very, very loose spiral. This is a pretty fast little aircraft compared to what we're used to, boys and girls. The never exceed speed of this aircraft is 316 knots at sea level. That's almost 600 kilometers an hour.
And Kate, this is the first entry-level turbine training aircraft that the Royal New Zealand Air Force has adopted.
That's absolutely right. There's quite a few more around the world, different types. The Australians fly the PC-9, the Brits have the Tucanos. So it's a real step up from us, from a piston aircraft that we've been very used to this turboprop. Brings a whole lot more dynamics to the picture here, and obviously what we teach our students. Okay, so this one's just a standard loop, ladies and gents, and we put this one in here. It's a very simple aerobatic maneuver, but it's lovely to watch. It's really graceful, and it also shows you how tightly that aircraft, which is quite a fast, quite a big aircraft, can make that maneuver. You know, I said we're used to our CT4s, which do have quite short wings and a lot of thrust-to-weight ratio, so they turn almost on a pinhead. This one's a little bit different, but it's nice to see how tight it can keep that loop. And this one's, again, another pitching and rolling maneuver. Start with the nose up really high up there, and as he gets to the right speed, he's going to roll inverted. There we go, and pull through in what we call the first part of the half horizontal 8 maneuver. So it's the half because that's the first part of it, and if he were to complete the aerobatic maneuver, he'd come and do exactly that mirror image on the left-hand side of the airfield. But instead of that, he's going to give us an aileron roll. So, talk about the quick maneuverability of this aircraft. This one's all aileron. All right. He's showing us one which is basically 2 turns tied together to create a figure-8 pattern as a plan view. And when he comes out of this one, then we'll see the aileron roll. So he really whips it round. It's quite a fast, almost feels like a bit of a spin maneuver in that aircraft. There isn't any loss of control in it, so it's not a flick maneuver like you'll see the wonderful Furios and the MX2s and stuff doing at air shows. We're not going to do those with this aircraft today. But here he comes. Once he straightens up, he'll get himself so he's got some nice speed. And if he puts his smoke on, you'll be able to see the corkscrew made by the end of that. So, there we go. That's quite a quick maneuver, isn't it? It doesn't take you very long in that upside down position. So Buddy, as I mentioned, he was previously on Pilot Training Squadron and 14 Squadron, as it was renamed when we started our flying training. He's just transferred across to Central Flying School, which is a smaller unit, but still located at RNZAF Base O'Harkia, and they're responsible for training all of the instructors, the aviation instructors in the NZDF.
So the 14 Squadron, Kate, has been recommissioned after the Blunties left 14.
That's right.
And now with these new Texan IIs, we've got 14 back, which is great to see.
We have, yeah, and it just, you know, it was a nice opportunity to bring that squadron back again. You're always looking to reinvigorate the squadrons when you can, and a new fleet is always a good way to do that. So this one here, an inverted pass. We talked about it yesterday, so apologies for those of you who are hearing it again, but we talked a bit about the G forces that you can pull when flying an aircraft. When you pull up on the flying controls and you make a positive G movement, what that means is that you're feeling more than your normal weight of your body. So that's called positive G-force. So the opposite is true. When you push forward on the stick, you hold yourself in an upside down position. That's called negative G. And what that does is causes all the blood in your body to rush all the way up to your head because it's upside down. And so you start to suddenly see things with a little bit of a red tinge. It's not the nicest thing in the world to hold for too long.
So to mitigate that would be using a G suit. What does that do?
Good point. So the G suit. Not all aircraft have to use them. You'd only use them if you were fully aerobatic and rated up to high Gs. And this aircraft's rated to +7, -3.5 G. Basically, it's a set of extra pants. They're a bit like chaps, except they zip up all the way around, and they're hollow, so a little bit like a rubber ring. And it's connected to the aircraft's oxygen system. And when the aircraft senses that it's pulling G, that it's getting that extra weight on you, they fill with air and they effectively constrict your legs, the lower part of your body, and stop all that blood from flowing all the way down to your feet, and therefore away from your head, causing a G-induced loss of consciousness or falling asleep.
So, for instance, at +7 Gs, 80 kgs, 560 kilograms is what you're going to effectively weigh.
Which is a jolly large amount when you're trying to maneuver an aircraft around the sky.
A lot of McDonald's.
Yep. And the falling asleep bit will, depends on everyone's individual physiognomy, but also how long you're holding that G-force. Some doing that aileron roll, but in a vertical sense. And while he does that, I'll ask Ellie to hop back down to the Gold Pass entrance area, because boys and girls, here's the first quiz question. How old will the Royal New Zealand Air Force be in 2017? Which birthday is the RNZAF celebrating next year? There's a nice low pass from Buddy, left to right. We'll see if he pitches up at the end of this one. Yeah, that's a nice picture.
Very, very quiet aircraft to the arcade. State-of-the-art PT6 Pratt and Whitney in there, 1100 sharp horsepower, delivering comparison to
But next, there is a program, but we do have to get people up and out of the sky. So this is called a buzz and brake, ladies and gents. Flying in through initials, which was a 0.3 miles out. And as they get right to the point they want to be, number 1, there you go, we'll brake and pull away. Followed by number 2. And it's a really nice way to approach an airfield, particularly one that you're not necessarily familiar with, because you can have a good look at it as you fly over. And also if you're bringing... So we've got one very happy kid out there at the moment who is the winner of the first prize. And yes, the answer to that quiz competition was the Royal New Zealand Air Force will be 80 years old next year, celebrating our 80th birthday. Hopefully with a nice big air show up at Ohakea, and we'd absolutely love for as many of you as possible to come up and join us. Now, down at the right-hand end of the airfield where our static displays are, we've also got a recruiting bus. Even if you're not necessarily thinking that a career in the military might suit you, it's well worth going to have a look, just to, poke around, have a look, see the photos, have a look at the places that we go to, the types of jobs that we do, because they are many and varied, and it's really worth a look. And all the guys down there are more than happy to answer your questions, give you some information that you might need.
Yes, Kate, I might make the comeback actually. I might head on down to it.
Yeah, over lunch.
Probably need a haircut.
So that's Gold Lead Flight Lieutenant Stewie Anderson. He's just brought it down, and here is the aerobatic aircraft, number 2, Squadron Leader Anthony Budd.